An integrated set of processes, practices, programs and systems in an organization that focuses on the effective deployment and development of its employees. Role of the line manager. People manager. The line manager is the one who directly interacts with the employees and is responsible for the effective contribution of those employees. Key driver of success. Role of the HR professional. Role is to help equip the line manager with the best people practices so that the organization can be successful. Active in policy formation. Employee advocate. For example, think of Toby. The partnership between HR and the line manager. Successful organizations are those that equip their line managers with a thorough understanding of good HRM practices. Business strategy and HRM. In order to be competitive, an organization needs to think about its people as a part of its competitive advantage. An indiscreet conversation. We made a ton of assumptions without anything to back them. Jurisdiction. Legal or other authority, also the extent of this, the territory that it extends over. Federal law. Applies to everyone residing in Canada, only applies to federal businesses, crown corporations, etc. Provincial law. Applies to people businesses residing in specific provinces. Direct discrimination. On grounds specified in the human rights legislation. Systematic indirect discrimination. The exclusion of members of certain groups through the application of employment policies or practices based on criteria that are not job-related. Company policy, practice or action that is not openly or intentionally discriminatory but has an indirect discriminatory effect. Bona fide occupational qualification. A justifiable reason for discrimination based on business reasons of safety or effectiveness. Test for a BFOQ. Duty to accommodate / reasonable accommodation. Requirement that an employer must accommodate the employee to the point of undue hardship based on 3 factors: individualization, dignity, inclusion. Reverse discrimination. Giving preference to members of certain groups such that others feel they are subject of discrimination. Privilege. Things you haven't had to think of before or have not been aware of. Harassment. Any unwanted physical or verbal conduct that offends or humiliates the individual, behaviors that a reasonable person would perceive to be unacceptable. Enforcement of human rights legislation. Complaint-driven necessity of thorough investigation. Canadian Human Rights Commission is responsible for CRA enforcement. Dispute resolution process. Inquiry, early resolution and preventative mediation, filing a complaint, mediation, preliminary assessment, investigation. Employment equity. Employment of individuals in a fair and unbiased manner. Legislation that focuses on certain groups that have been historically disadvantaged. Goal: % of groups in workforce equals % groups in workplace. Designated group. Women, visible minorities, First Nations, Disabilities. Employment Equity Act requires employers to develop plans to better represent these groups. Pay equity. The practice of equal pay for work of equal value. Diversity. Managing diversity goes beyond employment equity. Diversity management. The combination of organizational policies and practices that supports and encourages employee differences in order to reach business objectives, making optimal use of the multicultural workforce. Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. 1. Every individual is equal before and under the law and has the right to equal protection and equal benefit of law. 2. Subsection 1 does not preclude any law, program or activity that has as its object the amelioration of conditions of disadvantaged individuals or groups. Affirmation Action Clause seeks to improve the conditions of disadvantaged groups through programs. BFOR Reading. Employers designing workplace standards are obligated to be aware of the differences between individuals and the differences that characterize that group of people, must build equality into workplace standards, must accommodate characteristics of affected groups. Setting job requirements. Make sure the job requirements are reasonable and made in good faith. Identify and clearly describe essential requirements. Think about stress when designing jobs. Be aware of potential discriminatory requirements and don't include them. Canadian Human Rights Act Protected Grounds. Race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, disability, a conviction for which a pardon has been granted or a record suspended. Canadian Human Rights Act Discriminatory Practices. The line manager's role in defining work. It is the line manager's job to determine what tasks and activities need to be performed in order to maximize a company's performance and reach its goals. The line manager needs to play an active role in determining what skills and abilities are necessary. Job. A group of related activities or duties. Position. Specific duties and responsibilities performed by only one employee. Work. Tasks or activities that need to be completed. Job analysis. The process of studying jobs together, analyze, synthesize and report information about job responsibilities and requirements and the conditions under which work is performed. Job description. Systematic, detailed summary of job tasks, duties and responsibilities assures that employees and managers are on the same page regarding who does what. Job description aspects. Job title, summary of job duties and responsibilities, job specification, performance standards, date. Job specification. Detailed summary of qualifications needed to perform required job tasks. Performance standards. Establishes the level of satisfactory performance. Problems with job descriptions. If they are poorly written and vague, not updated, may violate the law, limit scope of the job holder, do not contain standards of performance, basis of conflict. Uses of info from job analysis. Recruitment, selection, legal issues, training and development, performance reviews, health and safety, compensation. When to do job analysis. Recruitment, changes in company after a tough fiscal year, startups. Performing job analysis. Select the jobs to study, determine info to collect, identify sources of data, collect data, evaluate and verify data collection, write job analysis report. Job design. The process of defining and organizing tasks, roles and other processes to achieve employee satisfaction and organizational efficiencies. Key considerations in job design. Organizational objectives of the job, industrial engineering considerations, ergonomic concerns, behavioral concerns. Employee empowerment. Granting employees power to initiate change, thereby encouraging them to take charge of what they do. Approaches to job design. Scope and scale of tasks. Important features of jobs. Importance of work orientation. Scope and scale. Job enlargement, adding more tasks to job scope. Job enrichment, adding more responsibility. Job characteristics model. An approach to job design that recognizes the link between motivational factors and components of the job to achieve improved work performance and job satisfaction. 5 characteristics of the model. Skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, feedback. Work orientation. Job means to an end, career development and progression, calling, higher purpose. Job crafting. A middle ground between contact worker and employee. How much control do you want over your workers? Contract workers experience high volumes of turnover, and employment model provides a more reliable and knowledgeable workforce, allowing the future of job design research. Special attention of social aspects of work allow more autonomy through job crafting, increasing prominence of work performed by teams. Future jobs, implications for employees. No jobs, no income level, standard of living decreases, skills gained today will not be relevant long-term, need for higher different education. Future jobs, implications for employers. Benefit cost-wise, high initial cost, however they reap operating cost benefits, improves organizational efficiency. Replacing people with machines could make people angry, manual labor cost might be cheaper. Future jobs, implications for society. Must find a workforce that has necessary skills to succeed. There will be a greater need for education. Change in society views people do not need to work. Artificial intelligence can manage work. Disposable income decreases. Recruitment. The process of locating and encouraging potential applicants to apply for existing and anticipated job openings. Goals of recruitment. Fit, retention, awareness, diversity, cost efficient. What attracts employees to organizations? Culture, compensation, potential for advancement, autonomy, reputation, work-life balance, location. Employer brand. Internally and externally promoting a clear view of what makes a firm different and desirable. Advantages of recruiting from within. Promotes and rewards employees for past performance. Knowledge of contribution motivates employees. Lower costs. Disadvantages of internal recruiting. Applicants from outside are a new source of ideas. Excessive internal hiring creates employee cloning. May not have necessary skills in the organization. Advantages from recruiting outside. Individual brings unique skills, brings a variety of people with different experiences and perspectives. Disadvantages of external recruiting. Lack of solid info about performance. Person may not know the industry or organization. Significant costs. Wasting millions recruiting on only a few campuses. How to attract the best college talent. Get your people to engage with students. Go where students are. Market the application process as easy and engaging. Prioritize meaning over swag. Evaluating recruitment efforts. Yield ratios, percentage of applicants who successfully move from one stage of recruitment and selection to the next. Cost per hire, cost of using particular recruitment source, and divide by number of people hired to fill that job. The best recruiter at Google. Not willing to compromise on quality. Hiring expectations, exhaustive search, no recruitment firms, referrals from employees. Selection. The process of choosing individuals who have relevant qualifications and who will best perform the job to fill existing or projected job openings, getting the right person in the right position at the right time. What hiring managers should be looking for: cultural fit, work ethic, job-related performance, general cognitive ability. Reliability. The degree to which interviews, tests, and other selection procedures yield comparable data over time and alternative measures consistency. Validity. How well a test or selection procedure measures a person's attributes' accuracy. Sources of information: application forms and resumes, portfolios or sample work, employment interviews, employment assessments, reference checks. Types of interview questions: which to use. Use both, structured to get good info about skills, unstructured to help determine fit. Reaching a decision. Dependent on what an employee can and will do, knowledge or skills, will do, motivation. Clinical approach. Each person involved will use different weights to the applicant's background, leads to different decisions, bias and stereotypes. Statistical approach. Criteria for successful job performance are listed and weighted information is combined, highest score gets offer. Biases in selection. Person perception, stereotyping, relating to process, relating to information sources. Look at the bias sheet. My notes, too much to type. How to overcome biases. Involve others, blind selection, several pieces of info, implicit association test, clear rubric. Jennifer Gaston, Olivia DiCarlo. Reference: anchoring effect, confirmation bias and halo effect. Time constraint: no way to tell if Olivia is the best candidate. Performance management system. A set of integrated management practices. Management practice. 1. Set plus communicate clear performance expectations. 2. Clear and specific standards and objective. 3. Provide coaching. 4. Focus on accomplishment of objectives in performance review. 5. Recognize good performance. 6. Create action plan for employee improvement. Purposes of managing performance. Compensation, administrative, measurement of performance, developmental. Steps to create an effective performance management system. 1. Clarify work to be done. 2. Set goals and establish performance plan. 3. Regular plus frequent coaching. 4. Formal review of performance. 5. Recognize plus reward performance. 6. Comply with law. 7. Decide who should provide performance info. 360-degree review. Take a variety of inputs to get the most comprehensive view of an employee can cause administrative complexity. The Big Five and 360-degree review. Customers, peers, team, subordinates, supervisor, self-review. Performance review training. Should train reviewers, that is all. Performance review methods. Trait methods, behavioral methods, results methods. Trait methods. Extent to which an employee possesses certain characteristics that are viewed as important for the job organization. Graphic rating scales. Behavioral method. Which actions should not be exhibited on the job. Behavioral checklist method. Behavioral anchored rating system. Behavior observation scales. Results methods. Managers look at factual performance. Accomplishments can sometimes push employees to pursue unethical measures. Performance measures. Management by objectives. Balanced scorecard. Which performance review method to use? Formal performance review. Ask for self-assessment, invite participation, express appreciation, minimize criticism, change the behavior, not the person, focus on solving problems, no blame game, be supportive, establish goals, follow up day-to-day, meeting setup. Factors that influence performance: motivation, environment, ability. Performance management versus performance appraisal. Performance management, ongoing, forward-looking, developmental side of things. Performance appraisal, momentarily, looking backwards, performance evaluation side of things. Actual versus measured performance. Deficiency of assessment. Performance overlooked by evaluator. Problems with measured performance. Unreliability, consistency, evaluators, situational factors, disagreement, employees, temporary personal factors, invalidity, accuracy, poorly defined task performance. Reinventing performance management. Recognize performance, see performance, fuel performance. Criterion contamination. Elements that affect the appraisal measures that are not part of the actual performance. Criterion deficiency. Aspects of actual performance that are not measured. Strategic relevance. Performance standards linked to organizational goals and competencies. Establishing performance standards. The Office video. Why employee ranking can backfire. Seeing a rank is demoralizing, causing their performance to wilt. Competition in a collaborative environment does not work well. Publicized rankings may be effective when company's culture is self-focused. Meritocracy without the numbers. Performance review ratings cause employee disengagement, mental paralysis, and reduce human qualities to numbers. CEOs like rankings as it reduces complexities of managing talent. Quantitative rankings give something solid to grasp. Employee rankings advantages. Comparable standard to judge employees, motivate people to work hard. Compensation packages are easily administered. Employee ranking disadvantages. Competition undermines performance, demotivating, wrong type of motivation, no room for growth mindset. Orientation. Formal process of familiarizing employees with the organization, their jobs and their work unit, and embedding organizational values and beliefs and accepted behaviors. Organizational entry and socialization. The process through which new employees learn to adapt to norms and expectations of the organization to quickly reach maximum productivity. Training. Acquisition of skills, behaviors and beliefs and accepted behaviors. Development. The accession of skills, behaviors and abilities to perform future work or to solve an organizational problem. Systematic model of training. 1. Needs assessment. 2. Designing the training program. 3. Implementing the training program. 4. Evaluation. Phase 1. Needs assessment. Organization analysis, task analysis, person analysis. Organization analysis. An examination of the environment, strategies and resources of the organization to determine where training emphasis should be placed. Task analysis. The process of determining what the content of a training program should be on the basis of study of the tasks and duties involved in the job. Person analysis. A determination of the specific individuals who need training. When to do a needs assessment. Gaps in access, feedback, high turnover, absenteeism, drops in profits or revenues, benchmarking, organizational changes. Phase 2. Designing the training program. Instructional objectives, desired outcomes of a training program, trainee readiness and motivation, consideration of a trainee's maturity and experience, principles of learning, characteristics of instructors. Principles of learning. Goal setting, individual differences, active practice and repetition, whole versus part learning, massed versus distributed learning, feedback and reinforcement, meaningfulness of presentation, modeling. Phase 3. Implementing the training program. Important considerations, choosing the instructional model, code of learning. Code of learning. Phase 4. Evaluation of training. Reactions, extent of learning, behavior, results. Reactions. Did they like it? Feedback forms. Extent of learning. Testing knowledge and skills before and after training, performance before and after training, use a control group to evaluate whether there was a meaningful difference. Behavior. Did they use it on the job? Some people might not use training on everyday activities or if they disagree with it or are a long-time employee. Results. Look at ROI. Types of training. Basic skills training, diversity training, team training. Career development. Organizational needs should be linked with individual career needs in a way that joins personal effectiveness and satisfaction of employees with the achievement of the organization's objectives. Career development requires management support, goal setting. Approaches to employee development. Royal Bank of Canada, transforming managers. Positive correlation between engagement and business performance. Focus on bottom path rankings. Used multiple sources of info. Help those that did poorly align with competitive advantage. Learning organizations. A place where employees excel at creating, acquiring and transferring knowledge. A supportive learning environment is necessary. Appreciation of differences. Openness to new ideas. Time for reflection. Simplifying the bull. How Picasso helps to teach Apple style. Like Picasso, Jobs believed in simplicity. Best work happens when employees surround themselves with the best things. Apple makes staff believe that they are making products that change people's lives. Direct compensation. Employee wages and salaries, incentives, bonuses and commission. Indirect compensation. Benefits such as health and mental plans supplied by the employer. 3 areas of action to achieve compensation goals. Motivating value of compensation, variable pay plus incentives, basis for compensation. Internal factors in determining compensation. Employer's compensation strategy, worth of job, employee's relative worth, employer's ability and willingness to pay. External factors in determining compensation. Economy, labor market conditions, area wage rates, cost of living, collective bargaining, legal requirements. Job evaluation. Used to determine relative worth of jobs, job ranking system, job classification system, point system, factor comparison system. Objectives of compensation. Retain employees, ensure equity, reward behavior, attract qualified people, control costs, legal compliance, administrative efficiency. Employment Standards Act. Equal pay for equal work. Compare same job or similar jobs. Pay Equity Act. Equal pay for work of equal value compares different jobs, applies to employers with 10 or more employers based on level of skill, effort, responsibility and working conditions. TED Talk content. Mismatch between what science knows and what business does. Performance-based reward dulls thinking and blocks creativity. Reward and punishment works when there is a clear set of rules, routine and narrow focus. Intrinsic drive is key to performance, autonomy, mastery and purpose. TED Talk reaction. How you look at a job. If it's a job, money matters. If it's a career, mastery matters. If it's a calling, purpose matters. Depends on the type of employees. Industry plays a huge role. The mystery of the vanishing pay raise. Many organizations have put in place pay-for-performance policies that often mean nice bonuses for few rather than across the board. Profit is be all and also no desire to increase wages. Want employers to share rewards more evenly. How to give the best employee perks on any budget. Understand the true value of perks. Listen or ask to figure out what employees really want. Offer perks as often as you can. Why we hate HR. Focus too much on admin, lack vision plus strategic insight. Believe that HR is an asset when struggling but not needed when it's going good. People don't like being told how to behave. HR try to get managers to follow procedures. HR is corporate. What we can do about it. Set the agenda. Focus on issues that matter here and now. Acquire business knowledge. Highlight financial benefits. Support business strategy. Bright, shiny objects and the future of HR. Important to have an HR function that is innovative and can keep its edge. Organizations must fall in love with the problem, not the solution. Why does the pay gap persist? Family status, amount of hours worked, behavioral factors, societal norms plus socialization, cultural factors, temporal flexibility. Women could be asking for non-monetary things. What should be done about it? More transparency, negotiation training, auditing, ensure pay equity, do research. How can HR do more for organizations? Use data analytics. Stop focusing only on employee issues. Be proactive, not reactive. Use an accurate and complete view of workforce costs to evaluate decisions. Talk about human capital in business terms. Concentrate on business outcomes.